Hello, welcome to Unity of Ocala. Happy Easter. This is a strange way to celebrate Easter, but we are in strange times and we are adaptable and flexible if nothing else, right?
Yes.
So join me for an Easter experience, whether you're in your living rooms or at a friend's home, wherever you are bunkered down, you are welcome here. I invite you to relax. We're going to open with a prayer. We're going to go into a meditation and then an Easter service. I want you to feel an Easter experience, regardless of where you are, what's going on in your life. Let us feel collectively the Easter experience. So let's pray. Oh, thank you, God. Thank you for this reminder of the power of your presence, no matter where we are, no matter where we are, you are with us. When we remember this, when we know this is a sacred and holy moment that we have been called to, then we know to go into our special holy place of prayer, to open for your guidance, for your light, to allow your light to grow in us so brightly that we are clear on what is ours to do, and we shine a light in the darkness for all those around us. So let us on this special day relax fully to your love, your embrace, and your peace. And we say this, dear God, in your honor, in your loving presence. Amen and amen. Oh, well, welcome, friends from afar. Gina and I are here celebrating a pre-Easter together, and it's a strange season. We've had churches done in different ways, depending on the circumstance. After hurricanes, some of our churches have held services outside. Sometimes during other situations, we've had to gather in separate places. Across the years and years and years and years and years that people have been gathering for these services, we've had to adapt to different things. At least we have the technical ability to reach out and to connect. We can make calls. We can watch videos. We can watch TV. Imagine if we didn't have any of this. But we do. And it's Easter time. It's a time to open to the experience and to think about, what does that mean for us? And that's what we're going to talk about during today's talk. But I want to prepare our hearts, our minds, our bodies for an Easter weekend, for an entire experience of what's going on. So let us begin with meditation of going within and getting clear. So I invite you to get very comfortable. If you're in your recliner, kick back, put your feet up, enjoy that cup of tea. Relax fully. This space is for you. This time of quiet is yours. So take in a deep cleansing breath. Allow those lungs to expand and filling your bloodstream with nutrients, strength, vigor. Cleanse all the old, release. Close your eyes if you like. Just relax. This is your time. Your time, and Spirit is insisting we become still. We go within. We honor the Christ within. So settle into this sacred space. This is holy ground that you have been called to. So breathe as we collectively reach across the globe, clicking in, connecting with others right now who are breathing on this Easter morning and connecting by spirit, by love, and feel in you that deep peace, that peace that is there Breathe, release, and let go. And as you close your eyes and go deeper, deeper, deeper within, I invite you to also surrender and allow your inner senses to awaken. Those senses closest to God, more attuned to the subtle vibration of divine energy. If you allow that quietness, you will feel a gentle and loving movement in you. Your muscles will relax, comforted in the knowing that a time of rest has come, that the busyness of the week is melting away, and you are centered and strengthened in the knowing you are not alone. Feel that loving embrace. Imagine yourself on a path in a dense forest, a little breeze around you, the smells of Mother Earth rich around you, the sounds of Mother Nature, the beautiful creatures preparing. You feel a breeze, it's strengthening, becoming a little gusty even, rustling through the trees, creating a loud whisper, perhaps a warning. Notice the growth of the wind, growing in strength, in power, actually becoming blustery. You see the trees bending a bit, losing some leaves and some branches as it picks up speed. You continue a little quicker in your pace on the trail, seeing an opening in the distance. As you continue that way, the sky begins to grow darker and darker. The clouds move in from nowhere. Dark, large, heavy-looking clouds, ominous-looking. The trees are growing quiet, although the wind is picking up. There are no sounds from animals. You take notice. The smells are still rich and aromatic, yet there is a frenzy in the air, a quickening, and you sense to that and hurry along. As the first few raindrops begin to fall, you feel them on your skin, on your head, on your shoulders. They begin to increase, becoming heavier. The wind picks up, becoming blusty, heavy. You feel it in every cell. You continue on your path, seeking a refuge, and you see the side of the mountain, the side of the hillside, and the mountains in the background, an opening, a cave-like opening for you. As you head that way, the skies begin to open, begin to crackle, lightning bolts begin to fly in every direction, and you hurry into this little cove, into this space of calm and quiet, of darkness. You settle on a large boulder there, dry, quiet, almost eerie, but you hear the storm beginning to rage. Angry skies booming, shaking trees around you, the rain building and gushing. And there you are, quiet, in your little den, safe, nurtured, and still not alone. You see a warm light as the sky lights up and a little light comes through. You feel a sense of peace. You hear the storm raging around you, but here, Here in this ark, you are safe. Here you are at total peace. You feel deep within you an inner power that goes beyond the strength of the storm, an inner knowing beyond human knowing, an inner power beyond human power. It is beyond yourself, yet surrounding you, providing in this moment, this instant, everything you need, everything you need. You've never felt so safe, so secure. It does not matter what comes after or before. Right here in this space, God is with you, beside you, beneath you, behind you, around you. You feel surrounded by this power, this light force, invincible, beautiful. You stretch this power out around the globe so every being feels this strength. You see Mother Earth hugged, embraced, held by this power, palpable. You feel it in your heart, your skin, your cells absorbing this power, this freshness that goes beyond the earthly being. You feel a sense of mightiness. You feel a sense of being drawn to higher ground. You are given glimpses of the glory that is becoming, of the washing away that is happening. And you rejoice. Something is rising in you, and it is rejoicing. You get it. You see it. You thrill to it. You breathe it. In its mist, you sit still, allowing it to take you, to become you. Feel your entire essence as pure light, radiating, vibrating. Breathe through this beautiful, glorious birth, a brand new existence. Enjoy its magnitude, its ecstasy. Breathe. Feel the peace that this knowing brings. As if you've overcome an extraordinary climb, triumphant, whole. Bask that in the quiet of your heart and soul. Feel the power of God in every essence of your being. Feel the power. You continue to experience this holy moment, this holy calling. allow yourself to know how important, how needed your presence is right now, right where you are. You have everything you need. As you begin to gently bring your attention back to this space and time, bring this feeling, this knowing, this shift with you. Bring this power into your space as you feel the weight in your chair, the tingling in your senses, your body, the miracle of who you are and your life as a human being, the preciousness of what this is, even if we don't know it all, the precious sacredness of this moment. Breathe in this space of glory. Easter. Breathe in for your brothers and sisters. A collective power of love, a force for good. Let us set an intention to release that which no longer serves our lives, our humanity, to embrace that power of that which does, to center in God and know. We thank you, dear God, for this moment, this holy instant, to know you fully, to be you completely, and to love you, to love you, to love you. Thank you, dear God. Amen. Amen. Thank you for your power. I'm feeling it in waves across the ocean. You know, Unity teaches that there are no accidents. There are no coincidences, only a sacred synchronicity. And what does that mean? What does all of this mean? Is Mother Nature taking a little reboot? Calling us all into a timeout? The seas and oceans would maybe agree with that. But more deeply, especially during a time of Easter, of newness, of a new beginning, what are each of us called to do at this time in a new way, in a holy way? I can't answer that for you, but you're on a divine assignment. We know there is a divine order to things. We know that disasters are not acts of God. That would be blasphemy at its worst. God is love. But acts of disaster can be eased and helped by us through the power of God. And Easter is an extraordinary experience, an event to bring about a heaven on earth. And how do we do that in this time that we've been given? It's an interesting thought, because normally on a weekend like this whole week would be celebrated. Each day marks a passage to the garden, to the resurrection. Each stage of the Easter journey is a reflection of our journey, our own coming into the highest spiritual place our consciousness can go. From entering Palm Sunday into Jerusalem, Jesus taught us how to enter that place of sacred being, Jerusalem, place where the temple of God is. He showed us not to come with soldiers and armor and weapons and noise and bluster and power, by a human source. He taught us how to mount the ego of the stubborn beast, break the wild pony of the will in us, so that we may enter meekly, humbly as a servant into that space. Through the entire week, the Passover dinner, the Seder, Good Friday, what does all that mean now? Normally, Sunday morning, we always start daybreak with the sunrise service in the garden as the sun's just starting to come up. The birds haven't even started to join us yet, but they soon will. And we have a quiet meditation prayer time. And we sing songs together. And then we take a walk on the meditation trail and the labyrinth. And then we break bread together, or pancakes, as it would be in Unity churches, in the fellowship hall as we ready for the Easter celebration. And it is a celebration. We have choirs, we have bands, we have special music prepared, an occasional Easter skit done by our students. The children engage in Easter egg walks and hunts around the grounds. We gather in fellowship and song and celebration, and then we eat together. We go home and we eat Easter candy. So that's what we traditionally do around the globe, I suspect, especially going into this Passover time where the Jewish community is experiencing new ways to do Seder. What's going on this year? What are we being called to? Unity reads the Bible with spiritual eyes. The Bible is an unfolding of our spiritual journey, an evolution of the understanding that man has of God, an evolution of the understanding of our journey. So we take these stories very spiritually, inwardly, because they are our story. We are being called to Jerusalem all the time. How do we enter the place where God is? How do you enter your meditation time? In a humble way, or all powerful and on the street corner screaming and yelling with your swords? Your choice. How do you choose to enter a week of the Holy of Most Holies? Jesus taught us by example. Every day of this week, he did something powerful that showed an example to the world of what was going on in his consciousness. How did he know? This is an opportunity for Unity students around the globe, spiritual seekers around the globe, faiths of all religions and no religions, to take an inward journey. We're being forced to, by Spirit, to go in our inner sanctions and shut the door, physically and spiritually. So wow, we're being called to something. Are you listening? Are you listening? I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what it is for me, but I'm listening. So let's think about those events. Let's go back to ancient Palestine over 2,000 years ago. Easter morning, that first Easter, that changed the course of the world. Wow, what was going on? It changed the course of the world from pre to post. Relax and take this in. Let's go on an Easter journey with Mary. As we imagine Mary in deep agony, just after Shabbat, waiting so anxiously to be able to anoint her teacher, her rabbi, her master. She runs with her might, all that she can muster after these agonizing days, to the garden, that lush garden where her master has been taken. Spring is just beginning in that ancient Palestinian garden. A breeze is bustling through the trees, making little whispers. She heads down a trail, sobbing, her eyes swollen. She has not eaten in 3 days. She has not been able to participate in prayer and meditation. There has been nothing but grief And she ponders over the week. It seems like such a mystery, such an unreal experience. What was going on? What was going on that evening? How did Jesus know? Why didn't he stop the guards? Why didn't he let Peter stop them? Why put the swords down? How could he have known? What did it mean that he took off his sacred shawl and wrapped and girded himself in it and washed all of our feet? I was not accustomed. What was he doing? She was thinking deeply, what would he have me know? What would he have me know? He was cleansing me, preparing me, opening me. But the grief was so deep, she could not settle on that. What could he have known? She was running now to the grave, and as she approached, she noticed the large stone that they had sealed his grave with was gone. It was rolled aside. The door was empty, a passageway. She came to the opening and dropped to her knees. There was nothing in there. The tomb was empty. What have they done? Robbers have taken him. How could this happen? How could they let this be? He has not been anointed. She sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, more broken. How could she be more broken than she was? In her pain, she heard, "Woman, why are you crying? What are you seeking? Or who did you come?" She looked up, surprised, and saw a gardener. "Oh, Mr. Gardener, please tell me where you have taken him. Where have you taken him? Let me go to him. I must anoint him. Please, I will take care of him for you." She looked deep into the gardener's eyes, and he said to her, "Mary?" She looked at his eyes and said, "Yeshua Rabboni." She knew her master. She began shaking. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. What did he mean? "I will be with you forever"? Here he is? Was she dreaming? Was she hallucinating? "Rise, my beloved. Tell your brothers, tell your sisters, I have not left them. Remember the commandment that I give you." She sprung to her feet, began running out of the garden, noticed that the garden had come to life, that there were flowers everywhere that she, in her pain, had not noticed. There was a trail of beautiful flowers leading to the tomb. The bright green bush had red tips on it, signs of life, of joy. She didn't even know what was going on, and she didn't care. It was real. It was in her. It was palpable. The teachings began to make sense to her. Revealed to the soul of the feminine, she understood what hers was to do. She ran back to her brothers and sisters, the family, the tribe, and explained to them what was going on. She saw the light around him again. She felt his presence. They knew she was telling the truth. This was Mary. They were overwhelmed. They sobbed together. They sobbed together, knowing they would never be alone. They would have their master teacher in new and powerful ways. The wall between separated. The veil thinned. Their consciousness was lifted. They would never be the same again. Their space would never be the same. The earthly realm was not as important. They were bringing a heaven on earth. They were lifting their traditions, all of them, to a higher space. They were saddened humanly, yet uplifted in an extraordinary, powerful way. That is ours. That is our Easter experience. That's what's going on. Do you feel it? Wow, I do. It rushes through me. So what is ours to do? This is an opportunity to really go within, to take that story, to read through it with spiritual eyes, Read each of those stories of what was happening to Jesus. He was telling us a vivid story in real time, the difference in the force of power, an overruling government, perhaps, or an overruling consciousness, an ego. He was showing us the greatest lesson of how our consciousness can be lifted above the fear. Every time, as Mary did, we stand up and claim who we are. Every time that Christ rises, that light shines in us, we rejoice because Christ is risen. Every time Christ rises in us, Christ is reborn. It's not a second coming we're waiting for. It's the third, fourth, fifth, ninth, billionth. Every time we make a decision to make someone else's day, to allow that light to grow, we are making a conscious connection with the divine in us. And every time we do what you do for another, you do for me. Every time we give and extend that branch, we are doing for Jesus. It is the Father in all of us doing the work. Once we get that, our life becomes a life of love and service. That's it. That's the Easter message. How easy is that? I mean, it takes a virus sometimes to get our attention, or an earthquake, or a flood, or Mother Nature saying, I've had it. But in us is the power. Jean's shaking her finger. Go to your rooms. That's what Mother Nature is telling us. Go to your rooms and behave.
Time out.
My daughter is a captain on the Florida waters, and she's telling me she's never seen so many dolphin out there, and manatees, and it's warming up, and it's just, and these squirrels are laying, they're not even climbing trees, they're laying in the parks. Have you seen the pictures? It's like Mother Nature is saying, we're restoring, we're coming back, we got this together. So what is yours to do? Well, right now in this moment, I want you to pause the video. You don't have to, Jean. I want everybody at home to pause this video, because we are going to do collectively a Holy Communion on this day of your Easter rebirth, because you're going to claim, we're going to claim as a church, who are we now? Oops, powerful. Who have we come to be? Who are we personally, in our families? Who are we in our neighborhoods? Who are we in our workforces? Who are we in our government? Who are we in our church? What are we in this Ocala community? Yes? So put it on pause. I'm going to hand to Jean and to myself this communion that we're going to partake in. And what you want to grab, you don't have to have wine, but if you do, I don't care. We have water here. Oops. Oh, I got it. And if you'll just take one of those. If you'll get a grain, though, that's really significant. To have a grain of some sort, whether it's a cracker or a bread, or hopefully you've got fresh baked challah bread for the Seder. Some of you aren't as crazy as me. I do it every year. And I'll bring it when we all get together. I can't wait. We're gonna have such a celebration. We have a lot of birthdays to catch up on. We have a lot of people to mourn and grieve for, and we are going to do that. We are going to do it right, and we are going to celebrate the renewal of mankind and the Spirit in us. And we are going to, and Jen's shaking her head, we are going to celebrate. We are going to hug, and we are going to celebrate. And we're not going to look at things the same way. This is an opportunity as you do your Holy Communion to decide, who am I going to be? What is it time to let go of in our lives? I'm going to do a little series about decluttering your life, your spirit, your mind, your homes, because I teach what I need to do. So we're going to go on this collective cleansing together, okay? Easter time is a perfect time. But for now, what is yours to do? What do you want to let go of? What do you want to absorb more of in your church, in your homes, in your life? So I invite you to take a piece of the bread. I asked you to get a grain that is grown from the ground. Mother Nature is part of us. She is in us. We are in her. We honor her. And as we do, we also take substance, a reminder of the constant manna that God provides everywhere we are. We have what we need. We don't need to buy 40 loaves of bread. We have everything we need and more to share right where we are. So I invite you to take that piece of grain and hold it in your hand and bless it. This represents the body and the embodiment of the Christ within us, that highest enlightened point in all mankind, that bright, brilliant light of our highest point of consciousness, that connection. The cross is a connection of the earthly and the spiritual. That point in the center is the Christ connection. So take that and feel it as it nourishes you, sustains you, and reminds you of the very presence of Christ that rises like the sun every time you focus on the risen glory. Just let that sink in, because that light is telling you, is guiding you, is providing a path to your next and higher space. And breathe, and take your water, your wine preferably, or juice, because that is also of the sacred grape, the earth. Breathe, bless this cup and this wine. It represents the life and flow of God, the energy, the essence, which is in you always. God is in us always, like the ocean is in a wave. God is in us through this energy. So we drink, and you let that holy energy flow through you. And you breathe, and you breathe. Jesus left the most powerful teaching, I believe, in my estimation, for the entire world, because he blended all of the religions with one commandment. All of the religions and no religions, all of humanity, he blended in one commandment. And he told his disciples and students, this I give to you, one commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Think about that. Think about what Jesus knew was going to happen, what he did to show us. That's how much he loves us. Still, today, can we do that? One commandment in all religions. One commandment. He showed us. He taught us. He came back to remind us, and does every time we light up. That's the message of Easter. And I want to end our sacred service actually with today, or Sundays. Today's a little earlier for Jean and I. We're going to be celebrating Easter all week. But I want to leave today with actually the daily word for Easter Sunday, because it's one of the best ones that over the years that I've experienced. I experienced it this morning in meditation, and I think we'll all remember where we were and what we did the Easter of 2020, yes? Take this in. I recognize the risen Christ in family, friends, and my spiritual community. Early in the evening on the day of resurrection, Jesus, unrecognized, joins two of his followers as they journey from Jerusalem toward the nearby village of Emmaus. Accepting an invitation to stay and share a meal, Jesus takes bread, blesses, and breaks it, then gives it to his hosts. In that moment, their eyes are open. They recognize Jesus, and alive in their hearts, he vanishes from their sight. Later, the two explain to others how the risen Christ became a living presence to them in the fellowship of breaking bread. Easter celebrates the risen Christ, an immortal presence, freed from all limitation, awaiting discovery in every person and every life event. I recognize the risen Christ in shared experiences with family, friends, and my beloved spiritual community. In Luke 24:31, then their eyes were opened and they recognized him. They knew him. And with that, I say, the Christ in me beholds, loves, adores the Christ in you. Happy Easter. Have a celebration. Put on your best Easter bonnet that you have in your closet. FaceTime one of your friends and make their day. God bless.